It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 813. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Please visit the YouTube page for the videos. Go to youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS and please click subscribe. I really appreciate that. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call, robust support for IT pros and MSPs, providing unattended and on-demand remote access through firewalls. You can try it out for 15 days for a free trial by going to my main website, miketechshow.com, and click on the Instant House Call link. Also, you can go directly to instanthousecall.com. Use the promo code MikeTechShow for that free 15-day trial. This show is also brought to you by... Hold on a second. Messed this up. Okay. We're clicking on the wrong things here. There we go. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. This is the best online backup service for your clients. They back up Office 365. You can check out a free trial and experience the same features as paying partners. Go to magnusbox.com and check out your free trial. They only sell to partners. They are HIPAA compliant. And if you mention you heard it on the Mike Tech Show, you'll receive free white labeling for your company and get 50% off the platform fee for your first 3 months. So go to magnusbox.com. Now, this is where I would normally mention Amazon. We have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I was using the Amazon link for my son Ryan. And because years ago I used the Amazon link as a subdomain, it was amazon.miketechshow.com. And I did a page with a redirect. In the terms of service, you're not allowed to do that. Yet I used it for years for the Mike Tech Show, for my Amazon link. And it's why when Amazon pulled my affiliate link and suspended that forever, for permanent, it's why months later I partnered with Carrie. Well, that went away the beginning of August because Carrie didn't want to partner anymore with that. So that's what made me have to go find a link to help, support the Mike Tech Show. So my son Ryan had a link that never used it. So we started using that. They just suspended his account forever because his link was on the Mike Tech Show. So that means there's no Amazon link I'm ever going to be able to use. So here's what I did today. I cleaned as much of the links as I could off the website, and I resubmitted to have my link reinstated. My original personal link for the Mike Tech Show reinstated. There's less than 1% chance of that happening. Amazon never reinstates anyone. I filled out the form with a very nice message explaining what happened. It's been resolved. Can they take a look at my website, look at YouTube and see and approve this? If they don't, there'll be no Amazon link at all. So the links that you have right now are meaningless. They don't generate any revenue for anybody right now. So I can't believe I'm in that boat again. So I'm going to be looking for a replacement to Amazon to help fill that gap. So All right. Quick COVID update. I am on day 16. I still have it. Feel like I'm doing better. The sneezing came back. I'm not coughing as much, but I still have a cough. And I'm still drinking tea. And let's see what happens. And hopefully I can kick this. I really, really need to, move on and be able to go outside again and be able to associate with other human beings. So it's frustrating. So tonight's show, it's all email. Every topic is spawned from an email that I'm going to read, including chairs for big guys. Someone asked, and I am going to talk about the chair that I have here and a couple other things that I think are very important. That if you're a big guy or know someone who's big, you're going to like some of the links we have. Mind maps. I never got into that. And remember I mentioned that was one of the free websites. Well, Kate, who's a great long-time avid listener, has been using mind maps for years. She has a great email that I'm going to read. Question on business insurance. I have two great recommendations. One if you're in Florida, and one it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, that you can get tech insurance. Must-have tools, another email. Scanners, another email. Scanner question. So let's begin, and let's get the first question from Al. And Al wrote me a couple weeks ago suggesting two topics. And the first one is, you always say you're a big boy, and I am too. How about office chair suggestions for a big boy like me? Brands, experiences with brands, etc. That I am going to do. Question 2 is, he works with a lot of small businesses, and how about an IP phone system for home users and small businesses? I actually may need to fold in a guest to talk about that. I've gotten burned twice recommending VoIP systems, and I'm living with one that I regret right now, Freedom Voice. So I got to bring in some experience for that. I don't. But Al, look for a future show that we will talk about that. And I got the perfect people to discuss that with. And by coincidence, if he's listening to this, he happens to live in Florida. All right. Let's talk chairs. So, one of the first links for tonight is, bringing it up on the screen, but I'm also going to talk about it. This chair is the OFM Avenger Series Big and Tall Bonded Leather Executive Chair. This, when you see the price, you're going to be like, oh my gosh. Of course, it's an Amazon link. $490. Well, that is significantly discounted. This chair is the chair that I have in Pennsylvania. It's the chair that I have here in Florida. I love it, and here's where I found it. The COO for one of my biggest clients a few years ago, and this man is very picky, very picky. And when I sat at his desk in his office, and the chair was, and he's a big guy, the chair was, oh my God, so comfortable. And he said, Mike, I have had many chairs, as I did. I have a ton of chairs that were supposedly made for big people, and they break after a while. They're not comfortable if you're going to spend hours and hours. If you need a good, solid chair, and this chair can handle 500 pounds, and that's what you need to do. Let's say you weigh 250. Don't get a chair that just handles 250. Get it double. Make sure at least 400 at that point. The higher that the chair can handle, the longer it's going to go. This chair, even if you want to search, I bought one discounted for $600 at Staples. Yeah, that's right. I paid $600 for my chair in Pennsylvania. I paid less than that from Overstock.com in Florida, but I had to go through 3 of them because every time they shipped it, it was damaged. That's a problem with Overstock. That's for a separate discussion. You don't want to buy the chairs because they don't know how to ship them long distances. So they got crushed in shipping. And all the leather damaged, and boy, what a nightmare that was. That was part of my nightmare when I moved down here. Anyway, look for obviously the weight, obviously the reviews. There's 74 here. Now you're going to see there's some negative, and I don't agree with some of the negative reviews, but you need a solid chair. I highly recommend this chair. Now, along with the chair, and by the way, anybody watching this, you'll see that I bought it 3 times. Actually, I don't know why it's only showing 3. I actually bought 5 sets of these. This wheel add-on was sent to me by Mike Cooley, Taz, and recommended this for the Sunny Dog office chair wheels to replace the cheap wheels that come even with the expensive chairs. This is safe for carpets, safe for tile and hardwood floors. It is so smooth. It is so great to spend. If you're spending $500 on a chair, pop $28 for the wheels because it is smooth and well worth it. Every office chair that I buy a set of these wheels. So there's 3 office chairs in this house in Florida. I have 3 sets. My son's chair and my chair in Pennsylvania, we each have a set of these. That is the way to go. Final big link is DXL. Now, anybody that's big understands DXL, big and tall, for clothing, for portable chairs, maybe for a beach or for something, for accessories. This is the main store for anything big. And the reason why I want to mention this is, what if you're not big, but there's a big guy in your life? What a great gift for someone you know. Let me tell you, if you're big and you hand that person a card for a DXL gift card, they are going to be very appreciative because you can buy online. They have stores all over. I love them. Most of my clothing, that's where, when you're big, you need a place where it's comfortable. And I wanted to talk about that. All right. So, Al, I hope I did it justice by covering everything for you for that. The big tip is the wheels. So, now, let's talk from Carlos, who lives very close to me. We have yet to get together, but he is not far from where I'm at in Oldsmar, Florida. Good afternoon, Mike. I hope all is well with you and your family. A while back in one of your shows, you mentioned insurance for repair techs. I was wondering if you can reiterate that information or any suggestions for liability insurance on one of your upcoming shows. I think it would help a lot of us and those new to the channel and that find your show outstanding. Thank you for all you do. God bless. Regards, Carlos. Carlos, per your request, there are 2 websites. and these will be links in the show notes. One is techinsurance.com. They are like a broker for tech insurance. You have Travelers, Hanover, Hiscox, Liberty Mutual, Philadelphia Insurance Company. That's interesting. The Hartford, Chubb. They can provide you with a lot of different quotes. That's a great hub. But this morning, I went to the horse's mouth. Marvin B., host of Podnuts Pro, and he's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He has techrisks.com, techrisks.com. That's who he uses. So I recommend that you check out both of these. Okay. Errors and omissions is what's going to be the big price. And you may not want to start out with that because that's just going to scare the bejesus out of you when you see how much that costs for coverage of errors and omissions. But you want your straightforward business insurance that covers you up to $1 million, that their insurance that when I started out, it was acceptable for the buildings that required it. For me to enter the building, I needed business insurance. It covers, I think my insurance covers up to $10,000 of client hardware in my vehicles. So if, God forbid, something happened and one of my vehicles got broken into and maybe I had a server and some workstations in there, they would be covered. Also, my house, my home office is covered. Not just with the homeowner's insurance because that's going to be, minimal. But what if something happens that's more serious? What if somebody trips and falls dropping off a laptop? Go over the policies for EOM, for errors and omissions. You want to take a look at the price and see if you can afford it. That's my biggest point on that. So hopefully that helps, and get as many quotes as you can and read the fine print. Make sure you know what's being covered and what isn't, and what the liability is, what the liability coverage is. So let's go on to another email. And this is from Jim. I have been a long-time listener. I really enjoy the videos. I do mostly break-fix work. I wanted to let you know about two software tools I use often. Glary Utilities by GlarySoft. I'm going to pause there for a second. I spoke about them years ago, and I have not mentioned the Glary Utilities in a long time. So this is Glary Utilities by GlarySoft, and they have a few free and pay version. It's a quick install and easy to use like CCleaner, although with more options. I use it along with CCleaner. Also, Hardware Info, HW Info, is a great program. It comes in a portable version, and I will put the links below. So I am also going to pass on those links. He's also included one of his must-have tools that he takes everywhere. He says when I go on site, I use it in my office also. I'll put the Amazon link below. I guarantee that once you see it, you will understand. I'm an older tech. At least that is what my wife tells me. And sometimes I find myself in an office where I can't quite get a cable off the ground and route it where I need it to go. Some desks are so heavy, I would need a few football players to help move it to run a USB, video, or Ethernet cable. This can be great for those situations. So I will have the Amazon link for, and as a matter of fact, you're going to see that I actually purchased this today, because you'll see purchased today, February 3rd. So this is a big extender that has a little hook and a ball at the end, Stainless steel by Greenlee. It's only $16.47. I'm going to have this tomorrow, and you can get down and pick up cables. I love it. So that made me think of what I talked about Christmas, but I never put a link to it. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. This was a stocking stuffer gift by my wife. It is a light, but it's more than a flashlight. It's an extender that you can bend, and it's got a magnet at the end. So it's got the light, and it's got a magnet, and look how long it is. So if I need to pick up that screw, pick up that something that you dropped, I think this is a great companion tool with the tool that was just recommended for being able to help scoop up the cables. I love it. I love little things like this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to deviate now. I love little tools. So this was a giveaway at a show. And it's a magnet that clips together. It's an adapter that has USB on one, and then at the other, it's USB-C. But wait, you open it up, that's micro USB. You can open up the other side, and that's USB-C. I can go from anything to anything. And it snaps back together. I have to find out where to buy these. This is great. This was a giveaway by a company when I went to the ASCII convention. That is awesome. I love little swag like that. I'll tell you another piece of swag that I have that I keep here. It looks like a pen, but it's got like 15 different screwdriver add-ons that you could just pop right in real quick. I love things like that, and I keep them at arm's reach here at my desk, and the same in Pennsylvania. So let's move on to the next email. And this is from Kate. And she wrote me in a couple weeks ago when I mentioned I never use mind maps. She took the time to write this. I've been using mind maps for more than 30 years. They help me organize my thoughts and see the relationships between thoughts, actions, things. I have also used mind maps to help me make presentations. I hated making presentations. I was always the one throwing up in the ladies' room before my presentation. They're not what the audience saw. That would be PowerPoint slides or whatever. The mind map was for me to work from as I developed, structured, and gave the presentation. The way it was taught to me, a mind map needs just a few things. First, a central theme or idea. Second, ideas or points relating to that central idea. And third, a way to show the relationship. So you start in the center of a page with the central idea, and you note things that relate to it radiating out from the center. And you draw lines, arrows, boxes, etc. to show the relationship. A mind map can be simple or complicated. It can be in color or not, but it should always include those elements. This is super helpful in structuring a presentation or a talk, especially if your mind jumps around. Oh boy, mine does all the time. It's easy for me to get lost in something without actually figuring out what the central idea or theme is. I used to mind map some of my weekly columns that discussed complex things, and it helped. You know, I'm wondering if it'll help the show with my planning of a show. When you use a mind map during a presentation, you can speak in a more conversational way to your audience than if you're just reading your presenter outline in PowerPoint. I hate PowerPoint, just death by PowerPoint. I hate presentations that are just that way. She continues, or worse yet, just reading the PowerPoint slides. I spent a long time in the corporate world wishing that I could just have the hard copy of the presentation and look it over in my hotel room or in the bar. I've made literally hundreds of mind maps. I made one when I was writing my mother's eulogy. I made one before a performance evaluation where I intended to secure a large raise. People use them for all kinds of things. I'm attaching two of the ones I found in my Evernote. One is for a series of tutorials I wrote and gave to customers about Windows 10. This would be the overview pitch. The other is for an interview I did on a podcast discussing password protection for WordPress websites. The password one, I actually turned the page as I was talking, so the section I wanted was right side up at the time. It started the podcast host. This was when you could do interviews in person. After we finished the interview, he asked me to teach him about mind mapping. By the way, Kate has offered a personal tutorial for me, and I am going to take her up on that. Way back in the olden days, when I learned this technique, the tools we had available were pencils, paper, and highlighters. Now there are at least 100 different kinds of software which you can use to make mind maps. You can make a mind map in Microsoft Word. I've tried over a dozen of these tools, and you know which ones I like best? Pencils, paper, and highlighters. Oh, and yeah, sometimes I use an eraser. I find the software gets in my way. Younger people are not going to have this problem. Hope you found this all interesting. Yes, Kate, thank you for taking the time to give us an overview of mind maps. I am so glad. Thank you so much. And let's keep going here. This is a guilty pleasure email where just for my ego, I got to read this. And this is from Bob Tercia. And he is the inventor of the baby sign language. And he mentions this in the beginning of his email. And he's from Seattle. I sure hope you're rapidly improving by the minute. I think I am. I just wanted to take a minute of your time to remind you that your brilliant and extensive knowledge, driven by your extraordinary efforts, continues to touch the lives of so many people in a huge and positive way. There are so many people that you may never know or ever even meet, but that nonetheless are great beneficiaries of your presence here on Earth. You clearly bring serious value to the universe, Mike. I'm like ready to turn red here. So, here is my own quick story. I want you to hear about how you recently touched my life with your life-altering concept. Just listen to your show where you spoke about your new fingerprint reader you've added to your desktop. I have a fingerprint reader on my new LG laptop, but have never had one on any of my desktops over the past decades. I absolutely love the reader on my new Gram. I don't know the LG Gram. Your show segment inspired me to research the desktop options. I had never even considered hooking up an add-on reader. I looked into your desktop version you described. I also looked at the Verimark USB dongle you mentioned that costs less than $100. I started envisioning a way to use the less expensive Verimark with my desktop. I decided to try adding a 6-foot USB male to female extension cable between my PC and the Verimark. I ended up grabbing a Verimark to test drive. I just attached the USB cable's female connector end to a convenient location on my desk with a small blob of hot glue and then installed the VM dongle into that already attached cable connector. Perfect. It's just a little tethered sugar cube that you can stick anywhere that's convenient. It worked great. Takes up zero desk space, is super convenient, and doesn't interfere with any other desktop operations at only $39 on Amazon plus the USB cable. Love the VM's blue LED that tells you it's asking for your print, and the red one that says your print was rejected. Just as you suggested, Mike, I set RoboForm and WinHello to accept my prints, and it's off to the races. I really mean it when I tell you that this is a super time saver when you consider how many times each day I'm inputting my logins manually. So there you go, Mike. You just won an A for the day and massive good karma points. You also get my deep thanks for how much I've learned from you since I started listening to you all the way back to your shows that numbered in the teens. Hard to believe it's been that long. By the way, it will be going on my 18th year, the beginning of March this year. We'll be starting year 18 of this show. He continues, sending you massive good wishes, Mike, and please, I ask you to continue to leave the world much better than you find it. We need more good people like you. All the best, Bob. Bob, thank you for such incredible words. I really appreciate that. But what I enjoy is that you put into motion the suggestions and it really helped you out. That is just so cool. And thank you for sharing that. And I really do appreciate that. Another Bob Layton. A Synology NAS question. Sorry to hear you and your son both got COVID. Glad to hear you are doing a bit better and that your son is okay now. I was wondering if you have run into this issue. I have a Synology NAS running the latest version of DISM, and I have some shares set on it. My problem just started after I updated the software on the NAS and also the latest Windows 11 updates to the machine I am having the problem with. So I am not sure what caused it. I have drives mapped on a Windows 11 machine to our regular network resources and then to a couple shared folders on the NAS. After a while, the map drives from the NAS drop off, but the regular network server shares stay connected. I have mapped all resources with the /persistent switch, and I have even disabled the idle timeout feature on the Windows 11 machine, but it still keeps dropping out. By the way, Bob, as I was reading this, that was exactly what I was going to recommend you to do. A lot of people don't realize you can use that /persistent. I had to do that for a client. I'm going to give you another quick tip, though. It had been working fine up until I did those updates. Any ideas? Well, thank you for the service you provide to the technology community. Hope you back up to 100% soon. Bob from New Hampshire, thank you so much. And I do. Go in to your network adapters settings where you can click configure, go to power management, and make sure they're all unchecked. That will not let your network card go to sleep. I don't know if that's impacting it. There is one very specific setting on the NAS that you have to have when you're mapping workstations, drives to it. I can't remember it off the top of my head. And when I was reading this today, I didn't have enough time to check my own Synology. I promise I will not only check that, I will mention it in next week's show, but Bob, I will email you. There is a very specific setting, and I don't know if you have it checked or not on the NAS. So they're my ideas only. If anyone else has some suggestions here with this situation, I would greatly appreciate it. This is from Dexter. I need some more help from all of you. He has a customer that does a lot of scanning, and they have the IX500 Fujitsu scanner, which, by the way, I was going to recommend, but he needs something faster than that. The feeder capacity is 50. The throughput, pages per minute, is 25. Can you recommend something better? I recommended a pretty high-end $2,500 scanner. So I don't know if that's going to fly or not. I want your suggestions. Something better that you've installed for a client that's better than the Fujitsu IX500, that does more, that has a bigger feeder capacity and more pages per minute. So I want some real world, you're happy with it, it was easy to set up, the drivers aren't a problem. That would be great. That is everything for tonight's show, and I got it done I believe in a pretty reasonable time. So let me, yes, I think that's it. Remember to support the sponsors and one other affiliate, which is Fabs Auto Backup Pro. Oh my gosh, we use that every day. My son just used it yesterday for a client who just got a new laptop, transferred all the settings, all the data. We used Fabs. Check that out. The link is in the show notes. Also, the sponsors, Magnus Box for all your online backup needs, for any remote control needs. If you're an ISP, excuse me, not an ISP, if you're an MSP or any IT pro and you need remote access, it's Instant House Call. That's it. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Please stay subscribed. Don't forget to visit MikeTechShow.com. That's your landing place for everything. And that's also where you're going to find the Discord link to join Discord and join the forums. Please check that out. It's really starting to grow. We're getting a lot of listeners involved. And don't forget to introduce yourself so you can get privileges raised. That's to make sure you're not a robot. It made me think of that commercial with the robot. What commercial was that for? Was it Geico or something? Anyway, we want to make sure you're not a robot. So introduce yourself real quick with one line, and your permissions will get raised so you can join all the forums. This is where we're going to be discussing hardware, software, the Mike Tech Show, tutorials. Check it out. And the invitation link is in every set of show notes with the words Discord in it. Go there, sign up. It's free. That's it. Hopefully I beat this thing with the COVID, and I'm on the way to be even better. Didn't have any coughing fits tonight, so that's a plus. Hopefully see you back here next week, same time, same channel. Bye-bye, everybody.